down in Australia, you've got a really controversial politician, some brand new hate laws, and the whole idea of free speech all colliding. So let's break down what's really going on here.
They want me in jail. That's the voice of Australian Senator Pauline Hanson. She's convinced that new laws are being twisted by her political rivals to, well, literally put her behind bars. It's a huge claim. So to get why she's saying this, we got to look at how we even got here.
All right, so first up, let's just get the facts straight. The event that kicked all this off, a politician is officially under investigation.
So here's the headline. Senator Pauline Hanson, who is a very well-known and, let's be honest, often polarizing figure in Australian politics, has been referred to the Australian Federal Police, or the AFP. And the AFP has confirmed, yep, they're looking into a potential crime.
But this is where it gets really interesting. The whole investigation isn't based on some old, established criminal law. Nope. It's happening under brand new federal hate speech laws that were just recently passed.
And that, of course, leads us to the two big questions, right? What in the world are these new laws? And what did Pauline Hanson actually say to get herself in this situation? Answering that is pretty much the key to this whole story.
Okay, so let's dig into that right now, the new laws and the words that sparked the controversy. You really have to understand the timing of all this. These federal hate speech laws, they're part of what's called the new Anti-Incitement Act. And they were pushed through Parliament really quickly with both major parties on board. The official reason? To stop people from inciting violence. And it was a direct response to a recent and terrible terror attack.
And there they are. Those are the words from a TV interview that triggered the police referral. Now, it is important to point out that Hanson did later apologize for these comments, and she said that her words were taken out of context.
So when you put these two things side by side, you can really see the heart of the issue here. On the one hand, you have a law that was sold to the public as a tool to stop actual violent attackers. But on the other hand, its very first major test is being used to investigate comments a politician made on TV. This gap has led to a pretty powerful theory about what these laws might really be for. And this brings us to a really interesting idea that's presented in the source material, this concept of tyranny by law.
So, what is tyranny under color of law? Well, think of it this way. It's the idea that you can create injustice perfectly legally. You're not breaking the law. You're just using laws that are either unjust themselves, or you're using them for a totally different reason than what you told everyone they were for.
And believe it or not, this is not some new 21st century idea. The source material points to this quote from the Psalms, written thousands of years ago. It really just highlights this ancient fear that people have always had, the fear of power being misused, even when everything is done completely by the book.
Okay, so if we entertain this theory for a minute, what's the motive? I mean, why would the major political parties want to use these new laws against an opponent like Pauline Hanson? Well, according to the sources, the answer is all in the numbers, the polling numbers.
And this brings us to the potential political motive. The absolutely stunning rise of Pauline Hanson's political party, One Nation.
See, to get the motive here, you have to know that for decades, Australian politics has basically been a two-horse race. You've got the Labour Party on one side and the Liberal/National Coalition on the other. But what recent polling is showing is that Hanson's One Nation party is seeing this incredible surge, and it's starting to look like a genuine threat to that whole system.
And I mean, just look at the nationwide polls. This is a dramatic shift. One Nation is now polling pretty much neck and neck with the main opposition party, and they're only 5 points behind the party that's currently in power. Now, in politics, a 5-point gap is, well, it's small enough to make the big guys really nervous.
And it gets even clearer when you drill down into a key state like Victoria. In the rural parts of the state, One Nation has a massive 10-point lead. That used to be a stronghold for the Conservatives. And even in the big city of Melbourne, it is now a tight 3-horse race. For the established parties, this just wasn't supposed to happen.
So let's zoom out. What are the bigger implications of all this? Because really, this isn't just about one politician. It brings up some really fundamental questions for democracy itself.
The source material we're looking at suggests this could be part of a worrying global trend of weaponizing the law. They point to examples in Germany and France where it's been alleged that laws are being used against political opponents. And then there's this wild case in Romania where the most popular candidate was just banned from running in an election. And this all points to a core fear about where political debate could be headed.
The worry is that politics could just turn into this ugly game of dobbing on your enemy. That's Aussie slang for, telling on someone or writing them out. Basically, you just report your rivals to the police because you don't like what they have to say.
And really, it all leaves us with this one massive, difficult question that, frankly, every democracy is struggling with right now. At what point does trying to protect people from hateful speech cross a line and start to silence the kind of political speech, no matter how messy or controversial, that you need for a healthy democracy to actually work? Where exactly do you draw that line?